This training video is to show you how to complete an incident in Core Reporting System. First things first, this is your login screen. Make sure you have your email and password. Click on login. In your login homepage, you're going to have My Tasks. So if you have anything pending, whether it's an activity or an incident, it will show here. So for this training purpose, I have an incident pending, starts with an I, year, date, and this is the report number 233, or incident number. Again, if you happen to be in another page of this software, just click on the U on the top left. It'll take you to your home screen and it'll show you My Task again. So click on your incident. Your incident is going to show everything that has been brought over from your activity. So that's a separate training video on how to complete an activity, but everything you did in the activity gets transferred over to the incident. So you put your involvements, you put your pictures, attachments, items, police, all of that in the activity. The incident is going to be a little shorter since you did the majority of the work on the activity. So if you scroll down a little bit, you're going to see that this is the link to your activity. Starts with an A. The activity type is a 979 training. It is whatever it could be. It could be a 946, it could be a 911, but this is where it's going to show. This is your activity number, and this is the date of the activity. So in your incident here, you scroll down a little bit and you're going to see you have your incident start time. So it was on the 18th, let's say, and then it was a 7/12. Click anywhere outside of that calendar and it will take it away. Same thing for the incident end time. So your incident end time cannot be before your incident start time. Please make sure these are very important, that you fill this up properly. So next step is, again, these are highlighted, so they are mandatory. This was a mandatory. This other one was a mandatory. Incident flags, it tells you right here, select all that apply. So if you respond to a call, again, this is a training incident, so we're going to make sure we use extra things on this report. You can put not applicable if none of those flags are applicable. For this instance, just to show you, I'm going to say that there was a weapon involved, that it was a hate crime, and there was also violence or threat or aggression. This is especially important for patients who are threatening or acting aggressive or acting violent towards staff. So I can choose all that apply. For this instance, I chose 3. Additional responses, it is a mandatory field, so you can choose not applicable. But if you happen to have called rapid response, for this, let's say this was a 945, you will select rapid response team. So I'm going to X out of that, and I'm going to say that for this instance we called police, right? But also police did attend. Sometimes you call police and they don't show up before the trespasser leaves. That's just an example. So additional people who responded, housekeeping, because we called them up and asked them to clean some of the area. The description area is a possible trespasser. It says right here, this is filled out by the dispatcher, so you don't have to do anything here. You're going to scroll down a little bit. You're going to see your location. This was done by your dispatcher when they created the activity. It says here, dispatch to medical building, 1501 building, the exterior or the outside. And the detail of the location is the parking lot. You can change this and just put something extra, east side of lot, just as an example that you can edit that and you can make it more specific. So maybe they put location details 1501 third floor, and then you can add here third floor between rooms 1 and 3. Just an example again. This is a training video, so I'm using different examples. So you're going to make sure that all your persons were brought over from the activity. I have a complainant, I have a witness, and I have a suspect. I'm just going to click on suspect just to show you, because I did not know the suspect's name. There are times that you will not know. So you're going to put unknown or UNK. You're going to put the description. Was there an arrest made? Yes or no. So that's the information for the suspect. For the witness, I use Craig as an example. So person's name, witness, he's an employee. Again, all of these 3 I did in the activity, and they were brought over from the activity. Organizations, I created in the activity the police, the responding police agency, which was PD1. They are the responding police department. The batch number, arrest made, there was none, so police unit, case number, and officer last name. I also have some work orders. So you can see I did a maintenance request. That was the work order number. Work order number is 123. You can edit that at this time just in case. I also did a housekeeping request. So this would be the service request number and the request type. Again, you can change it here. So you got to make sure that you had your persons, organizations, items. For this instance, I don't have any items for this specific report. I don't have any vehicles. So the only thing I got left really in this incident is to complete the narrative. Click on narrative, click on create new. Narrative owner, you can put your unit number, or you can start typing your name and it will pop up. The narrative type, most of the time is going to be an original narrative. You may be doing a supplement to somebody else's. Supervisor notes, so just make sure that you use the proper one. For this instance, it's an original narrative. Date and time, this is the actual time that you're writing the narrative. So I'm just going to put the date, and it's going to put the time automatically for me. For the narrative, please be specific on your narrative. One of the little helpful tips that I can give you is do not use third person. It is confusing, and that is the old way of doing reports. The new way of doing reports is in the first person. So refer yourself to yourself as the first person. So instead of this officer or this writing officer, that's the old way. The new way is I. I witnessed a trespasser. I witnessed. I observed. I responded. We're not using this officer responded. So again, just a little helpful tip. Do not use third person. Use first person. It is the newer way of writing reports, and it's a simpler way of not creating confusion. So if you do happen to have to, go to court, and there's a very confusing narrative, they will they will really confuse you, because you will be confused yourself. So just refer to yourself in the first person. I did this, I responded, I did that, I observed. So once you have it completed, you can attach a narrative. For example, you have a narrative from or an attachment, an email or a text. You can attach it here as a picture. But for now, this is my narrative. Click on create, and my narrative is right there. If I click on it, I can go back and I can add something to it. So I don't know, just you can always add something to it and edit it if you need to. So if you get this report sent back to you, you know you can go to narratives, click on the original narrative, and you may have to edit, you may have to add, you may have to delete some things, but now you know where it is. For training purposes, I am going to show you that you may be missing an item, let's say. So it's a 932R, maybe it's a 911, whatever it might be. For this report, we didn't do one. We were supposed to do it in the activity. So if you happen to get this report back and you're asked to include the items, you're going to have to come back to your incident. You're going to click on your activity. And this is why I say it's so important to do this while you're in the activity before creating the incident, because now you're going to have extra work in creating this. So once you click on the activity number, this window pops up, which is your activity. You can enlarge it by clicking there, so you can see the whole page comes up. You're going to go to involvement, you're going to go to items, you're going to create new item, involved name. I am just going to say the item was a water cooler. What happened to it? It was damaged. Involvement type. So here you got to choose the appropriate one. So you may not have the perfect explanation of what it is. Just click on other. You can click here and it will take you to a page or your location in your computer where you can select the picture, add a picture to it. You're going to click on create. And now your item has been created. You're done with the activity, and now you're back to your incident. So as you can see, no incident was created here because this was done after we had already created the incident. So you had to go back into the activity and add the item, and now you're going to have to do it again in the incident. That's why this is very important. It's damaged, other. That's why this is very important that you create all your persons, organizations, items, vehicles, and attachments when you're creating the activity, or else you're going to have to do extra work. So just take your time, make sure you do it right the first time, and you will not have to go back into your incident, then go back into your activity to create an item, to create a vehicle, to create an attachment, and then have to come back into the incident and redo it. So once you do that, and you have completed everything you need to, all the mandatory fields, you have all your persons, organizations, items, vehicles, narratives, you're going to scroll down and you're going to select in this section right here the supervisor for the shift that you're currently working or when the incident happened. Again, I use the example that you may be an officer that works in the whiskey shift, but you're doing overtime and you're working on the H shift. And let's say this incident happened in the H shift. So all you're going to do is when you, in this box, click on H for the shift, and it's going to give you all the options to have an H on it. So for instance, this is a S for the supervisor, Lennar H, but you are working in the medical campus because this incident happened in the we said it was on the 1501 building, which is obviously on the medical campus. So once you click on H, you're going to have to select supervisor S, medical H, and when you click on the medical H, it will send it to both supervisors that work on the H shift. If for any reason you have to send it to a specific supervisor because he might be covering for another supervisor, such as, I'm going to use Joa as an example. So I'm sending this to supervisors from the medical H shift, and I'm also going to send this to supervisor Nelson Joa. Once you have selected all the parties that you need to send this to, you can always X out of it if you made a mistake and redo it. But once you have everything ready, you have selected the supervisor or supervisors that should get this report. Click on Ready for Supervisor Review, and it will take you back to your home screen. And as you can see, it's not I don't have any tasks pending. So that is everything you need to complete an incident in the NEO Core system.